Oh, hi. Are you going to join us? Everyone, meet Mystery Pussycat. She's very much molting. You're going to come on? It's so hot. It's too hot for cuddles. Alright, everyone in position. Okay, so it's been a minute. The time needed to recalibrate from the move was a little bit longer than anticipated, but we're back, we're regrouped, but there's so much to catch you up on, so I thought we could do that today. So we last left off in the old house, ready to move, surrounded by boxes, and now we've had a few weeks in our new home. Moving was a little bit all-consuming, even though we're kind of seasoned movers. It had been 5 years since our last move, so that was 5 years worth of collecting wonderful but very big furniture and also accumulating 2 animals, not this animal. So logistically, that's a little bit different, just a little bit different. But I think we did really well in the end. We basically made it so that the little one's base camp just got kind of smaller and smaller and nearer the front door. And like on the last day, it was just me hunkered down with them. And I think that really helped. And it was just the car journey that was actually the worst bit in the end. Probably more for me. If you have rescues, I feel like you always think that they might think every car ride like that is like, oh God, I'm going back to, wherever they came from, which is so sad. They've adjusted incredibly well. I could talk more about it if you want in another video, because I did get quite a few DMs about it. Moving is a stressful time, so like anything we can do to make it more seamless for them, that's always a good thing. And now it's bliss. I mean, it's chaos, but it's also bliss. We have lived in every kind of home you can imagine, from like a haunted from like a tiny little haunted listed Cotswold cottage right through to like a mid-century modern block of flats. We've tried and tested all of them. And this is by far the best one that we've ever had. And it's ours. So we spent the 5 years living in Cheltenham. And if you don't know, that's like on one side of the Cotswolds. It's known as like the centre for the Cotswolds. And we basically spent the last 5 years like trying to really find the right spot, and obviously be getting those right move emails every single day and be like, what about this area? What about that area? Then when we found this particular area, we were just like, I think this might be exactly what we're looking for. Like, it just ticked every single box. And I think I found the Cotswold stone cottage. It's like in a tiny little hamlet. It's perfect for my husband's work. I think it's the one. And then because like we're finally able to start doing viewing, we decide we should probably also have do some other viewings. Be prudent. Don't just see one thing. Just on a whim, we come and see this house. And it's painted, in the estate agent's words, in single man grey. The whole house is grey. We look around, we're like, yeah, this is lovely, it's lovely. But I'm thinking in my mind, I'm just getting ready to go see this cottage. I think it's going to be Hollywood moment. It's going to be, fireworks. It's going to be tears. So we get to this cottage. Not only is there no fireworks, it is just a big fat no. There was no vibes, let alone tears. There was nothing. And we leave there and we go, should we go back to the other place? Like, it's just, we just keep talking like, oh, wasn't that nice about that? And didn't that, And so actually after millions of years of renting and moving, we ended up buying the first house we saw. So there you go. Oh, and it's not haunted. There's no ghosts here. It's got incredibly good vibes. I don't know how else to describe it. It's like you're on holiday. It's like a little holiday cottage. So it's all fabulous, but it's also pure chaos, and that's why you and I are hanging out here for the moment. It's hard to figure out where to even get a space so that we can just hang for a minute, so we will get there. It's still hot. we need the iced coffee. Where we left off, I basically have really struggled to show you the rest of the space because it's quite big, it's a funny shape, and it's all on different levels. So short of flying a drone over the property, it's been hard to just like convey how it feels and like the size and everything. This is where the studio is going to be. We've got this tiny, sort of very sad looking summer house situation, and then we've got this massive buddleia here. Even though the summer house is actually tiny, I think together it's actually taking up quite a lot of space. We've left the garden for as long as we can to see like what plants are already here. Across from the studio, we've got a greenhouse, which is great, but it's really just too big for us and not the way we'd like to use that amount of space. It's quite a big area that is on top of some broken old decking, aka a death trap. And that's along the same side of the garden with the fence that needs replacing. So in terms of just securing the space before the little ones get to come out into the garden, that's really important. Obviously, we need to make sure it's secure and safe for them. And so that's very much part of Operation Clean Out as well now. It's definitely a project. Like I said, it's full of trash. It's also full of some like really nice old pots as well though. Potato. The next level down from there is another section, like another tier if you like. And I started to turn the soil in readiness for a maple to go in, but quickly discovered it's just full of trash, and by trash I mean I don't think any of it is soil. I think it's all rubble. I've pulled out oven knobs, broken glass, bricks, no treasure yet. There's quite a lot of random brickwork going on. There's what I call Flintstones cotswold stone. It's basically like quite a full restoration job. Hi. We were already planning on taking the buddleia down, and then we just didn't get around to it, and then it reflowered, which I didn't know was a thing, and I'm so glad we left it because it has just been absolutely covered in the most incredible butterflies. So I don't know, we might even have to rethink whether or not we keep it or just reduce it or what, because the wildlife really loves it. So, and then if you come further down to another tier, which is it's in need of such a glow up, it's ridiculous. It was all full of wildflowers. They'd already gone to seed before the heat wave, so we didn't water them. We were just wanting to conserve water as much as possible, so we just kept it to all the maple trees that are on the terrace here, because they're all in pots, so they would die otherwise. So they are burnt to a crisp now. If you know what I should do with it at this interim point, before like we get the walls restored, while there's about an inch of soil, please let me know. And then the wall goes all the way down to the kitchen view. That's what you look at, and that again will all be restored like really beautifully. At the moment it's not even kind of safe. Like I wouldn't want any little children to come round not like holding the hands of an adult. The handrail's wobbly and the stairs, they're kind of uneven. So the idea is that we get the studio in first, and that would mean the little ones and I can be up there when there's more disruptive work happening around here, so that they can be kind of safely contained, health and safety, not being stressed out by like loud noises and stuff like that, especially Mimi. That's our thinking. Put the studio in first and then like work back from that. Because of where the studio is going to be, it's just like going to be bathed in sunlight the whole time. This is the sort of thing that I'm thinking. Very much obviously surrounded by the garden, a big desk so I can fit all my screens and things on it. A sofa would be cool. Maybe even a sofa bed. I could get some diffusion blinds as well and blackout curtains. It'll just be, the size needs to work with the garden. I want to kind of work back from what makes sense in the space rather than like picking a size and like dumping it in the garden. Try and keep it like as small as possible. It's definitely a big project, but we're really stoked to be able to do it and restore it really beautifully and just like have it how we want it. Anyone who's rented for so long will understand when you just finally get the opportunity to have things the way you want them. Like, cost be damned. I was also hoping that Frida might join us today so we could chat about her, but she's off snoozing somewhere. The tea on Frida, friendly cat, free spirit Frida, she basically showed up in our garden 2 weeks after we moved in, and she looked very skinny. She looked like one of her legs was bothering her. I just saw her out of the window, locked eyes. She started yowling at me. I went down to see if she was in some kind of distress. She seemed like she was. She seemed really hungry. I quickly I fed her. She was so skinny. Her stomach was just, my first thought was like, oh, this this lady needs some assistance, you know, we need to get her to the vet or the shelter, like, I don't know. But then the more that we monitored her, I thought, oh, actually, is this an old injury? Because she seemed to still be getting about fine and seemed very, very friendly. She definitely wasn't feral, but equally seemed to, I don't know how to look after herself. I don't know. Basically, she's been a little bit of a mystery. Now she just basically wants to live here and just lives in the garden and wants to come in and wants to be friends with our little ones. And obviously I know you shouldn't be like feeding anyone else's cat or anything like that. It was very much because she seemed in need. But since having a chit chat with some of our lovely neighbours, they actually thought that she belonged to us. They hadn't seen her before we had seen her, so they thought she was ours. So I was like, right, okay. Anyway, we're going to just get a chip reader and see if she has a chip. Her ears, her eyes, her mouth, her teeth, her skin, all looks really, really healthy, in really good condition. It's her body that sometimes seems like, has she spent winters outside? Her coat seems a bit chunky, like it can get. She seemed really, really underweight when she first came. So I think we got to the point where it's like, look, either we figure out that she actually is homeless and we bring her in and like commit to that. To be honest, introducing Moon was hard enough with Mimi that I don't want, you know, I need to put them first as well. Or it's that she needs to go to a shelter because, you know, like we're getting away with it now because it's summer. Like as soon as the weather turns, it's like, can't just leave her out there. So that's the other thing. I thought that she must just live nearby, and then one day out of nowhere it just started tipping with rain, and I just saw her running around back and forth looking for cover, and I thought, well, if she lives here, why isn't she going home, you know? So yeah, that's why I say bit of a mystery, but she's a little love. It feels like she belongs here, so that's another reason why I don't want to take her away from here. But again, she needs care. She needs somewhere warm to go at night. So that's the tea on Frida. Also, I really don't know if I can handle 3. Do you have 3? 2, one of them being Siamese. That is not for the faint of heart. I realise we haven't even spoken about Moon yet, but I also think this video will just get way too long, so let's just leave this where it is. It's a garden tour. We're in our new spot. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed hanging out with me and frolicking with the butterflies. I did already shoot an editing session to do together because it's like a real slow chit chat through. That in itself is already kind of long, so that will be coming next week as a separate video, and you can just like have a coffee, have a tea, and just sit and edit with me. I thought that might be nice. So until next time, I'll see you then.